the possibility of Ichiro getting in 2 years.
What would be the first of its kind, a Japanese inductee.
Ichiro with a home run and his final appearance here at Safeco Field.
He's climbed the mountain. He has arrived at 3,000.
You know, he's had a great career, Hall of Fame, first ballot for me.
I mean, I got first ballot Hall of Famer for CC Sabathia.
Swing and a miss. Ball game. Sabathia finishes with his 11th.
You know, when you're playing, you know who Hall of Famers are.
For me, you know, getting to 3,000 strikeouts mean that you have to be pretty good at the back end of your career.
Strikeout number 3,000.
Message that I've been getting from friends and family and, you know, people all around. It's been fun.
The writer's ballot for the Baseball Hall of Fame coming out officially today, announced today. Here are the first-timers being put out there. And I'll just look, Curtis Granderson, Carlos Gonzalez, King Felix, Adam Jones. Buck, you had Adam Jones for a number of years. Stellar center fielder Ian Kinsler, Russell Martin, Brian McCann, Dustin Pedroia, Hanley Ramirez, Fernando Rodney, CC Sabathia, Ichiro, Troy Tulowitzki, and Ben Zobrist. I wanted to read all the names, Buck, because these guys had great careers.
These are good players.
These are right. These are because we get very quickly into who's a Hall of Famer, who's not, and we drop guys off who are like, I don't know, a 47 WAR player. Maybe like, I looked up Curtis Granderson.
Good.
Like, again, 50 or 60 WAR, usually you're a Hall of Famer. He's 47 WAR. Like, how far away is he? Not that far. Last year I saw that with like Matt Holliday, Adrian Gonzalez. They were close. This year there's a bunch of guys that are close, but at the very top, obviously, is Ichiro at the top. And there was a debate at one point, will he be a United States National Baseball Hall of Famer? But he stuck around long enough to go over 3,000 hits, and now there's no doubt, even the 7 years in Japan, you don't have to even count them, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
The first time I saw him, I went over the Diamondbacks to look at the Japanese players, and those two guys, him and Matsui, stuck out. They were leaps and bounds. Now that it's kind of changed, but he was bigger than Michael Jordan ever was in the States over there. It was unbelievable. I made a mistake of having him take a picture in a Diamondback uniform. Almost didn't make it out of the country. Big mistake.
Really?
But I remember when he first came over here, people were doubting him. So, oh, it won't play over here. It won't work over here. Well, guess what? They were wrong. What a splendid defensive player. Probably as good a base runner you ever see. Unbelievable body control and a great teammate. People talked about him and how funny he was. I remember he slid into third base one time and Hank Blaylock didn't think he spoke English in Texas. And he just said, "What's up, Hank? How you doing, my blankety blank blank?" And Hank said, he came in, he couldn't get a hit for the rest of the game because Ichiro was a funny guy.
You know, he played a different game, too. Look, 262 hits. That's at the height of the steroid era, the racquetball era, and he's hitting 350. He's running, he had a tremendous arm, so he was playing a very different game than the American baseball game at that time.
He had two arms. He had, okay, you're out, I'm gonna one-hop it in there. And then he had the one, hey, I gotta hurry a little bit. Reminded me of Jesse Barfield. But the other thing that he could do in BP, he was like Wade Boggs. You used to talk about him in BP. This guy could hit.
He could hit home runs?
You put him in the home run hitting contest, he's probably gonna win it. If he wanted to do that, he could. It was like, what does the team need me to dial up? And there it is. As good a bunter as you'll ever see.
Now, 5 years ago, when he retired, I remember doing an essay on MLB Now, or Cooperstown Justice, we do that on the show all the time, on CC Sabathia. At the time, I made a real pitch, so to speak, for Sabathia, saying, wait a second, I know he doesn't have the traditional numbers, he's not where, you know, he could be what, you know, traditionally guys make the Hall of Fame, but this guy was a winner. His 2008 was heroic for the Brewers. World Series title 2009, he had a 1.98 ERA for the Yankees, drove them to a World Series championship. He ends up having 3,500 innings pitched. Buck, I thought I'd be making a real pitch for him and I'd be, you know, kind of, you know, swimming upstream. The way people talk and the way writers are talking about Sabathia, I really wonder how close or maybe over 75% he's going to get.
His body of work, you know, yes, he's in the Hall of Fame. His body of work.
So you vote? Your vote, yes?
Yeah, I'm going to vote for him, comparatively speaking, because of the innings pitched, the strikeouts, the post-up. And I love the fact that he reinvented himself. When the stuff started going down, he wasn't sitting there in 96, 97. You know, you'd face him, he'd come up with another pitch, a little softer breaking ball, a changeup, a little split. It seemed like every year or every 4 or 5 starts, he would reinvent himself and give you a different look. He was a tough guy to advance scout because one time he'd pitch you a certain way. The last 5 or 6 years of his career, which were still competitive, and he changed leagues. He pitched in both leagues and was continued to be successful. And there's another guy that was a good teammate and really liked to win, Brian. He liked winning.
Yeah, I would say will cause some voters as well to rethink what they're voting on with Andy Pettitte and Mark Burley, because they're actually all very similar now. Sabathia has a few more innings, but by the way, Pettitte was outstanding in the postseason as a postseason legend. Burley was very good in the postseason as well, won a World Series title, was extremely consistent. The other guy that I would say, again, out of King Felix, Dustin Pedroia, Adam Jones, Kinsler, Granderson, somebody should make a case for Dustin Pedroia. That's where I'm at. Now, again, next year, you'll have guys that are very, very close. Billy Wagner's at 73%. That's year 10 for him. Adam Jones, Carlos Beltran. But to me, I'm thinking, again, not into just metrics. Dustin Pedroia was a winner for me for 10 years, Buck.
I think of him like I do Mattingly. Mattingly had the injuries, but he made his teammates want to please him. Winning followed them around for a reason.
Yep.
And you wanted to please him, and he set the tone for all those great clubs there through the years. And that's got to matter. That's got to matter.
Correct. I'll be making a case for him as we move along. We'll have the official announcement, by the way, from Cooperstown, January 21st. Have the announcement of the writer's ballot live from the Baseball Hall of Fame.